whereabouts, and I copied off the link and sent the information back and forth with him so that he could get involved and listen to things going on, and maybe can do some contributing. The fact that he got training and worked there at Pensacola puts him right in there with you and me. And
it does.
I don't know. So, although I am older than you are, so.
Well, Bill, what part of Georgia? Because that's where now Ahmad tuned in here and talked to this guy that's new with our group. This is his first time. Ahmad is Thomas R. Becker. Now, Thomas, you're somewhere around Valdosta, right? So let's find out. Bill, where are you from Valdosta, Georgia?
Okay. If you're referring to me, my name is Ben. And
Ben.
I'm in Dalton, Georgia.
Ben, okay.
Yeah. We're south of Chattanooga, about 35 miles.
Dalton, Georgia, to Valdosta. Let me see how far that is. Are you here, Ahmad?
I'm here, but I cannot hear him.
Oh, it must be static on his line.
Okay. They're just like the old phones we had, Ben. You're going to have to get the microphone up a little bit closer to you so we can hear you better.
Yeah. Okay, let's see here what I can do.
That sounds better.
Okay, is it better now?
Oh,
yeah, you have to talk loud. You have to yell at us so we can hear you. There's a little old static.
Kind of weak anyway, and so sorry about that. I was kind of hoping that the computer would give me your voices, but I guess it doesn't work that way.
Not very good sometimes.
Yeah, I'll just
are you on your phone?
And, I don't want to take all your time, but I'm real glad that you're doing what you're doing, and I'm sitting up here, as I told Ken, I'm double 40 plus 2, and I'm hoping to see disclosure in this lifetime. So I want you guys to bring it on.
It's going on now. Go ahead.
Do you have any experience in the Navy or seeing anything you'd like to share? Because we're in the second part of the hour when we invite people to share the second hour.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Ben, yes, what's your last name again? What's your last name, Ben?
And,
spell that for me.
Ben Pelham is the name, and I was in the Navy for a 20-year retirement, stationed on the cruiser Northampton and the USS Saratoga, CDA 60 out of Mayport, Florida, and from there I went into the reserve training system, and my last duty station was in New Orleans, Louisiana, and before that in Omaha, Nebraska. That's where they had the Naval Air and the Black Shoe Navy tied together up there at that time. So I was a storekeeper dealing in logistics and, just normal typing and researching and produce some directives on logistics and whatnot. It's been a long time. I retired in 76. It's been a long, long time.
Yeah.
But that's kind of my background. I did serve at Naval Reserve Station and training center in Jackson, Mississippi, and in Jackson, Tennessee. I was at another one, and while I was there, I happened to be there, I guess, at the wrong time because I had to close out. As the Navy cut down, I had to close out and ship out everything out of 4 or 5 different installations. So I got a lot of experience in logistics and, excess property and all of that. So that's about me in a nutshell.
Did you have any experiences running into people that claimed that they had contact with or was at the right place to see extraterrestrial spacecraft, UFOs, or what have you? Any stories of those?
Ken, I really have not. I've not. I just started. I guess started picking up on it a little here and a little there, and I do a lot of research on the computer and whatnot. I'm able to do that. I'm a pretty good researcher, and I've learned a lot of the key people or at least some of the key people that are on Gaia, for instance, .com. There's a lot of people on there, and other places, and that's where I come on to you, Ken. I was interested in the Apollo programs and things like that. So.
Right. Well, good. We're awful glad to have you come on with us. And
thank you. I wish I could contribute something more than a weak voice, but I'm glad to be here with you.
Well, we're glad to have you there. So.
Well, now disclosure, Ken, that's your key word, and I know you've been going to a lot of events. So share what you'd like to, Ken. We'll give you the floor for a minute, me and Ahmad here, and then Ahmad, you can choose a topic. But it is the last hour. It's just more of a conversation than anything, folks, for our UFO Trade Association. But we are ACO, and it can stand for whatever you want it to, Alien Civilizations Organization or Alien Contact Organization or UFO Trade Association. But we're trying to find all our veterans and people that worked in the industry getting us to space or just protecting the planet and the people. So I guess it's just for everybody, but especially for our veterans and retired people that have some time to get to know each other. So Ken, why don't you start, and then Tom Becker, I'd like you to come on and tell us what you did with the Navy. I'm Navy, Ben's Navy, Ken's Marine, and NASA Grumman dude. So we've got 3 Navies and 1 NASA Grumman Marine dude. So we'll let the NASA Grumman Marine pilot dude start off. Share a little bit of your history. Ken, share your history.
Well, I guess the history really was that, when the Air Force Academy first came out, and I was in military school, the Oklahoma Military Academy, both high school and junior college, and a lot of us applied to get to go to the new Air Force Academy. Well, I was selected as my first runner-up, and if the person that I was tied to go to the Air Force Academy had decided not to go, then I would have been picked up and go on that. So I didn't get to go into the Air Force. So here I am during the summer and going to taking summer school at Oklahoma City University, and my best friend from OMA and Norman Jack Lancaster, who's no longer with us now, he came in the dorm one night and he says, well, Ken, I've joined the Marine Corps. And of course, when you're real young and brilliant, those days said, like, hell you are, I'm going with you. So I went down the next day and I enrolled. We went from captains and advanced ROTC at the university down to Marine Corps buck privates at MCRD, Marine Corps Recruit Depot in San Diego. And the one thing we were smart enough on is that we didn't let any of the drill instructors know that we had any prior military experience, ROTC or otherwise, because they would use you as an example and try to tear you down to the level. So, like when we were doing some of the activities, we had our instructors, we called them gunny because they were sergeants, and I'd say, but Gunny, is this how you're supposed to do it? And he said, yeah, you're doing good, keep it up. And of course, we could have taught the class ourselves. At least we weren't that stupid. Anyway, so after that, we went on into Jack stayed at El Toro in California, and I went on to officer pilot training. I had a little more college than he did, and I went in with just 2 years of college at the time. So after completing the basic flight training and then going into advanced, Vietnam was just beefing up real big, going crazy, and my father was a pilot in World War II. He was a bomber pilot, lost his life in World War II. And I grew up that I was going to. In fact, I'm looking at a picture of him right now on my desk here in my little office in my home. And I was determined that I was going to be like my dad and be a pilot. Well, here I was told that by the Commandant of the Marine Corps, says, we don't need any more pilots. We need helicopter pilots. Everybody in the Marine Corps are going to become helicopter pilots and go to Vietnam. And I said, no, I'm not going to fly a plane that has my wings spinning around above me. I'm a airplane pilot. And they said, well, you don't have a choice. I said, yes, I do. So I took after a year and a half in there and been through advanced training in the aircraft, then they switched us over to helicopters. I took what they called a DOR. That's dropping out at your own request, DOR. And I went from captain back to Marine Corps sergeant, back to El Toro, where Jack, my friend, was, and we put in our last 10 months and took our leave of the Marine Corps. And that's when I wound up with my brother at NASA and him telling me, get my little fanny down to Houston, because that's where they were looking for people, especially that had avionics training, electronic training, and degree in aviation electronics, and went to work for the Grumman Company. So yeah, those are kind of the experiences that I had to get in there. I'm glad to hear that. I guess forgive me, Bill. My memory on names real quick don't work out. But he and I chatted back and forth. Say it again.
Ben Pelham. Ben,
yeah,
B-E-N.
Yeah.
I probably
right.
Benjamin.
It's been Pelham.
Yeah, he and I chatted back and forth, and that was pretty cool, because I like to do that with people that have you get to find out, just like you and I have, TJ, that here we were bouncing around doing similar things and actually in the same areas, and may well have run into each other, either walking down the hallway and physically run into each other, or actually were involved in some of the tests and things.
Yeah.
And the fact that Bill, your job was to make sure that everything was working right and see that we had all the equipment to do it. As if I'm reading right what you said you were doing, and let's face it, we couldn't have accomplished anything that we did if we didn't have both types, both jobs and both functions in order to get it done. And now our job is disclosure, and that's
have
where
it all.
it comes from. Yep, you're real faint. You took your mouth away from the microphone, and we can't hear you. Just barely heard you.
Yeah.
But
if I can find the.
Speak louder, my friend. Speak louder.
Yeah. I'll try to speak louder. If you can't hear me, I'll just keep listening. That's good. But my career though was really a lot of it was administrative, and the other end of it was sheer logistics. And on the ship, of course, we were concerned with parts and whatnot. We had 6 supply divisions on the Saratoga, and I had the honor of serving serving under Captain Joe Smith. He was our supply officer for that aircraft carrier, and I ran his office for him, and I really enjoyed being with him. And that was a good experience. And then when I got over to the Naval Reserve outfits, I was basically the business manager for those things, and I learned a lot more. And then they picked me up when I made E7 and sent me up to Omaha, Nebraska. That's when they combined the Naval Air with the Black Shoe Navy, and it stayed that way for several years. But I went up there for 4 years, and then a congressman had more pull, and he pulled us away down to New Orleans. So I served down there 3 years on that same staff. I was on the Admiral staff for 7 years, and then from there I got out of the Navy and come up to Georgia briefly, and then I decided I wanted to move to Pensacola. I had a good friend, and so we moved down there, and I lived there about 10 years. And so it was a good experience. Played a lot of golf on the naval base there. I guess Ken is familiar with that, probably played on it too. But it was a good experience.
You bet.
I hope you can hear some of this anyway.
From the pilot standpoint, we really appreciate what you did for the supplies and being sure we had everything we needed. So You were involved there, I guess, probably after I was. I think Vietnam was over with by the time you got there. Is that correct?